Hello, everyone. Happy Women's Day. Let's see if this is connecting. Ooh, here we go. Here we go. Hi. Let's see if this is connecting.
Ladine!
Hi, Alexa. How
Hello.
are
I'm
you?
so good. How are you?
I'm good. You look so beautiful.
No, oh my gosh. No, we have been going through some major sleep regression with Rio. So this last week I have not slept much. This is in your
Oh my.
future.
Yeah, I'm 8 months pregnant now. Like,
Oh my, and
check
this
it
is your
out.
first.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Oh, okay.
Thank
How are you
you.
feeling?
I have been feeling good. I think the exercise has been saving me
Yes,
personally.
yes. Don't stop exercising. I always tell people that because it just makes pregnancy way easier,
Yeah,
way easier.
I've definitely felt that way. People, are like, aren't you tired? I'm like, no, it gives me energy.
Yes, a
Like,
hundred
it
percent.
helps me with my energy. Sorry, my cat is trying to get all over you. I'm like, get away.
Do not be sorry. Listen, soon it's gonna be children, so
Oh my
get
gosh. And
used to it.
just for anyone that is here that doesn't know who the amazing Alexa Penavega is, she's an actress, singer, mother, everything. And I have actually so many questions to ask you because you
Oh,
have
girl.
lived a life. You've lived a life.
I've been very fortunate to have a full life. That I
Yeah.
will say. It's been pretty full.
Yeah, and I love that you were actually born in Florida, which is where our company, is, and I've
So
lived most of
good.
my life in Florida, but I'm actually on the West Coast now in Portland because my
Oh, okay.
husband's from Portland. So I go back and forth to Florida. I don't know how I'm going to do that with kids,
I know.
but
No, you do it. Let me just tell you, it sounds really overwhelming. And at times
mhm.
it can be, but you can do it. We travel nonstop with our three kids. And I don't know, it's weird. This is the only advice I can give you. The
Okay.
hardest transition is from 0 to 1 kid because everything changes after that, right? But
Yeah.
then from then on out, you can have one, two, three, four, however many kids, and you just adjust the new life that you have. I think going from 0 to 1 kid is the biggest change because it is
Wow.
a full on adjustment.
Mhm.
Then when you add kids, then it's just fun and exciting, and it's not as hard as it may sound.
Well, that gives me a lot of inspiration because I'm like, man, I'm going to take like a little child with me back and forth to Florida.
Yeah.
I'm going to be, because I want to have the kid come along with me in my life as an
Yes.
entrepreneur, and I don't want to
Do it.
not do the things that not follow my career or
Yep.
not follow like I
Yep.
I want to I still want to be an amazing mom, and I still want to also run my business, and
And you can.
that
That's
requires
what's amazing.
travel.
Yes, do it. I just want to speak that life right into you and encourage you to keep doing that because my mom did that. My mom was a big model way back in the
Yeah.
day, and she would take her kids with her to all of her shoots, and that was unheard of. Like nobody would do that, especially back then. And she would take us with her everywhere. And that
Wow.
stuck with me because now we take our kids everywhere. When we're on set, our kids are
Mhm.
with us. When if we have to travel, for the most part, we travel as a unit. Carlos is going on tour this summer. Our whole family is getting on a tour bus and we're all touring with Big Time Rush, which is going to be super, super fun.
Wow.
But like, those are the memories that they're going to have when they get older.
Mhm.
And you're going to, do you know what you're having?
I'm having a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're literally going to teach your little girl what it's like to be a super mama, and she's going to see it firsthand. That's a beautiful thing for her to be able to experience.
Totally. I mean, when you are traveling and going on set, do you get torn with like, okay, now mommy's working, and how do you
Um,
balance that? Or do you have, I think that I will need some help, like a nanny
yes,
in certain situations. I don't think
you're
that I'll be able to do everything.
look, you're not going to be able to do it all. Like obviously when we're on set, we definitely have help because I can't have like kids running around like screaming on set while we're trying to film a scene. So
Yeah.
yes, don't be afraid of outside help. I think for me, for a while, I think pride was kind of getting in my way because I wanted to be able to show the world I can do it all on my own. And
Yeah.
sure, if you have to, you can, but there are going to be times where you do need help, and that's okay. Like, it takes a team to raise a family. It takes your friends, your family to come in and help. And if you have family that helps, that's great. We
Yeah.
are always so far away from family, so we don't often have family that can help us. Never
Hmm.
be afraid to bring on help.
Okay.
Because especially if, like, okay, for instance, when I'm on set, um, I can't be there with my kids, so I have somebody helping me with my kids, but I'm not absent in their life. Like, they're still on set, so I get to go back and forth. I still get to breastfeed my baby. I still get to love on my kids and have lunch with them. So they're a part of what I do, but
Yeah.
I'm still able to go and live my dream and my passion and work and do what I love doing and do what I do best, and I don't have to forfeit that by becoming a mom.
This is so inspirational to me because I have been feeling so many emotions through this
I
process
know. I
that
know.
I'm like, I feel like I'm going crazy or something. But, it's like, oh my God. And then I'm going to have this human and I'm going to have to raise them and I'm going to have to, and I'm very passionate about breastfeeding. I really believe
Yeah.
that breastfeeding is very important. I
Yep.
believe that it's the exact nutrients that the baby needs.
Yes.
And so I'm like
And
very like I
you
really believe
but
in that.
but I also want you to have grace with yourself too, because breastfeeding for it can be very difficult,
Hmm.
or it can be a breeze. You never know. So just have grace with yourself. Surround yourself with really, really encouraging people. And like, for instance, I had some friends who really had difficulty in the beginning with breastfeeding, and I literally was having this conversation with her yesterday, and she's like, I had the wrong people around me. They were not speaking life into it. They just kind of kept pushing, I guess,
Mm.
saying like, maybe it's just not for you, it's not for you,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah,
And
totally.
instead of saying, you know what, it's okay, like, we'll try again, we'll just try again. And
Yeah.
ultimately she ended up being able to breastfeed her baby after, like, but this took weeks of her
Hmm.
trying, but she ended up surrounding herself by more encouraging people, and that ended up being super helpful.
Yeah.
So I really feel like who you surround yourself with is super important, speaking life in your situation. And if that's what you want, go for it. And have
Yeah.
grace with yourself too if that's not something that ends up happening. Like, and
Sure.
that's what I tell women, because there's some
Yeah.
women who can't, and it breaks my heart because I know they want to so badly, but I'm like,
I know.
it's okay. Like, if you can't, it's okay. But
Yeah, but
but
it's so
certainly try.
important. I agree with who you surround yourself with, because I'm having my baby at a birthing center. So there's no like
Awesome.
option for
Right.
epidurals, or anything
So
like that
awesome.
there.
Oh,
And I have so much love and respect for whatever path anyone decides to do
yep.
childbirth. But it's what I want. And I'm
Yeah.
super scared out of my mind. I'm not like, yes, I'm going to be doing this and I will live in my female warrior power. And I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to push this baby out? I have no
No,
idea.
thank God you're going through these emotions now, because I didn't go through any of that until like an hour before I started pushing. And that is the wrong time to be experiencing that with your first child. Because it like suddenly hit me, oh my gosh, I have to push this baby out. Oh my gosh, I'm terrified. And it didn't
Oh my
really hit me
gosh.
until the bitter end. And that's not a good time for that to happen. So it's good. Get all
Wow.
these emotions out. It's okay to feel that way. But our bodies were designed so beautifully, and we were made to give birth. I mean,
Hmm.
if you think of like how much your body changes, how your hips open up more, how like you literally growing a world in your body. Like,
I
you're
know. I have
literally
like
growing a
two
world
hearts.
in
I
your
have like two hearts in my body right
right?
now.
So that's what I'm
Crazy.
saying. Like, I don't think that we give the human body enough credit
Yeah.
um for all the amazing things, especially the female body. Like, the what women do and go through is a miracle in itself. It's incredible. So I love that you're going to a
Absolutely.
birthing center. That's so awesome. I wish we had
Yeah.
one here on island, because I totally would be using a birthing center.
Oh my gosh. It's I've never been to Hawaii and it's my dream to
You've never
go.
even been here?
never been to Hawaii, and it's like my
You
dream. Like,
have
I
a house.
swear,
If you ever need to stay here, you've got a
I'm
place.
gonna
I'm
take you
so
up on that.
serious.
I'm
Yes,
gonna take you up on that for
you
real, because
should.
it's like dream vacation for me. I swear, in a different life, I would be like a surfer girl. Like, that would be me, and like my alternate reality is me just like waking up at like
Yep.
6 in the morning and going surfing. It
Let
must be
me
so
tell you,
amazing to
yeah.
raise your kids there,
It's
right?
well, for us, we kept going back and forth because we were living in California, and we were like, do we
Right.
want to move to Florida back
Mm-hmm.
to, kind of, because Carlos is also from Florida, or do
Mm,
we want to move somewhere completely different? And we've always loved Hawaii, and Hawaii was always on our bucket list for when we were older. We never really saw it as a place for like right now, this season in our lives. And once I had ocean, like something clicked in me, and I really felt like God was like, y'all need to move. You need to
yeah.
go. So I was like, Hawaii, we're going to Hawaii. We're raising our kids on this island. And we knew we would have to travel for work regardless. So we thought, what a cool way to kind of really disconnect from everything,
Right.
and move to a whole new place that we get to raise our kids. Like being able to say they grew up in Hawaii is a very cool thing.
It's super cool. So I actually have a question about schooling and with
Yeah.
your kids and with your
Yep.
travel and your work. So do you homeschool your children? How do they, you have 3 kids, they're all
Yeah.
different ages. So
Yeah.
how do you deal with, because like you
School,
travel
I
for work,
know.
how do you do all of that?
So we went back and forth for a minute. Our kids are super social, which is awesome.
Mm,
And I think a lot of that has to do with they're around people all the time with our work and with traveling. So they're very, very social. Um, and for a while, I'm like, I have to put Ocean in regular school just because he is this social butterfly. But then we realized our travels, it was going to be really inconsistent for him, and we were constantly going to be pulling him out of class. That I said, you know what, we're going to homeschool. We're just going to
mm-hmm.
stick to homeschool, but we're going to have a really awesome community around him. So that way he always has kids to play with. He's learning important life lessons that you learn by like figuring out the sharing situation or getting in fights with other kids or
Right.
whatever that may be. So we have an amazing friend group out here where he gets to play with kids his age all the
Wow.
time. And the same thing with our other little one, Kingston. He's 2. I mean, Rio still has like little girls, but like she's 7
Yeah.
old and she doesn't really know. But yeah, so for us, we found great community, and that's really kind of poured into our lives for everything, whether it's kids or just having other mamas to be like, yo, this week is rough,
Yeah.
and just to hear you out. So community is like so essential, especially when you
Do
have
you have
kids.
like a specific teacher that does the homeschooling, or you like move them
So
around from house to house, or like
so
what's the situation?
so it is just us. But
Mm,
it's awesome because there are so many cool co-ops on island that like we could join into. But again, like because we travel so much, I don't really want to disrupt the rhythm that they already have. So
yeah.
we have really awesome, amazing friends that we just go out, we explore with. Like for instance, the other day, Carlos just wanted to make these cool little beaded necklaces with the kids. So they're making these beaded necklaces, but he's literally teaching them patterns as they're making this. So the kids have to figure
Yeah.
out, okay, what's the next pattern
Yeah.
after this set that I already made. So it's a very he's amazing.
Hi.
He can't hear you because we're both in our own world. Wow, man. He's also so humble, so humble.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
um,
My husband
but
and I also have an office that we have 2 desks in as well.
really, yeah, we
Yeah.
just love being close to each other all the time. And again,
Hmm.
this is a day where we don't always have help, but we know when we have a lot going on, we have this awesome girl here helping us out. And it's just, you have to find uh, good friends who are willing to
Yeah.
like show up for you and be like, yo, I'll help you with your kids while you can get some stuff done.
But if you're really doing the schooling yourself, I have no idea how you're doing that and doing your career stuff. I really like,
I
can you
know.
break it down for me a
I
little
know.
bit
Okay.
more? Because I'm like, okay, because at a certain point you're gonna have to be teaching math and like,
Yes. Okay. So
specific subjects.
when they get older, right
Yeah.
now I can handle elementary school. That's something that
Hmm.
I have no problem with. When they're older, I really do feel like that'll be a season where we either have to be in one place for a while. So whether we're working on a TV show or we're just
Yep.
taking a break, we
Yep.
should be in one place because my kids are gonna need proper teachers, and
Yeah.
I don't know that I could have tutors coming in nonstop. And I don't think they'll want that. I think they'll want to be in like a school where they can go
Yep.
experience junior high and high school. And I feel like elementary school is super different.
Hmm.
With us so far on the road, it's been really great because um, classroom learning is not for everybody. I know that because I've experienced it in my life and with my siblings. One of my sisters is like a genius and she's fantastic in the classroom. My other sister and along with a couple of us, we work better learning on hand, like so having those
Same.
on hand experiences. So a lot of the schooling out here, and they actually I think do this in Japan as well, like schools are outside and they do a ton of field trips and like when you there's something about taking a kid if they're stuck in one room and they're doing schoolwork all day long. Sure, that's cool and kids learn that way, and not everybody has the luxury to be able to go and have the kind of schooling that we're doing with our kids. But if you
Right.
do, it becomes this beautiful thing where you're making memories with your kids, but you're also teaching them at the same time, and you're teaching them exactly what they would be learning in school anyway. So like if
Right.
you want to read a book with them, go to a really awesome place and read a book with them. It doesn't have to be in like
A
a school
classroom.
classroom. Exactly. You
Right.
can go to the beach, or you can
Right.
like go to the beach and walk around and pick up different seashells, find out about different creatures that are on the beach. Someone who does
Hmm.
this really well, you should follow her. She's really rad.
Okay.
Her name is Jenna Strubar. And
Okay.
I'm like, this mom is out of this world. She lives here on island and
Wow.
she homeschools her children, but
Mm.
everything is this on hands learning, really intentional time. And I
Wow.
think that's the big thing is like when you're super intentional with your kids, you can do anything and you can teach them anything.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, I talk a lot, but my
No,
last
I'm
point
I'm
is,
soaking it all in. I'm
you
soaking
know,
it all in.
there will be times where your kids just kind of feel kooky pants and you're so overwhelmed and they just talk and you're like, oh my gosh, my kids are driving me nuts, right? But if you actually pause and like get down on their level and ask like, okay, what are you actually trying to tell me? They're just trying to communicate with you and share what they're like experiencing with you, and you just feel like, oh my gosh, my kids are actually beautiful, and I just allowed like my own stuff to get in their way. So just finding an important balance of you going off and doing your thing, but being able to be recharged enough to come back to do homeschool with your kids.
Absolutely.
That's like my
Okay.
advice. Make sure you're recharged.
Love that. Love that. And then I have a question around, just this could be about motherhood, it could be about your career, but
Mm-hmm.
what is the most challenging obstacle that you have overcome that is kind of like this pivotal change? Everyone has that in their lives. It
Mm,
might be earlier on when you were a kid, it
mm,
might be later on in your career, but
yeah.
we are celebrating Women's Day, and I think that it's very important to celebrate also that it's not just our achievements, it's also
Right.
overcoming obstacles. And
Yes.
I personally believe that if everything was easy and everything was just rainbows and butterflies, then there would be no change in
Right.
life. You wouldn't
100%.
grow.
No, you need
So
that. You
I
need
would,
that tension to stretch you. And I would say it's like going to the gym. It's
yeah,
hard, but
yeah.
what you get out of it is super great. For me, the biggest obstacle that I still fall into, like I have to really keep myself in check, is people pleasing.
Mm,
And people pleasing is not a good quality. You think it's going to be a good quality because you think like, oh, I'm just going to do all this stuff that makes everybody happy. But then it ends up, it creates all sorts of resentment and opens up like a lot of frustration in your own life to be a people pleaser. And it's not what we were ever intended to be. Like who you are is like what you offer to the world as you is so important and necessary, like you said. Like so what I love is I have this group of girls where none of us are really alike at all, and
yes.
we all just offer something so unique. And if I just sat there being a people pleaser and being exactly what I thought they wanted me to be, I would be doing that group a disservice, because
Hmm.
who I was made to be is so unique and special that the world needs that. So I think
Right.
when I discovered like, oh, I don't have to change myself or be what I think everybody wants out of me. I can literally just offer up who I am and that's enough. That was a big deal for me because it opened up my voice way more to like be able to go, no, I'm going to say what I think, obviously with wisdom. I'm not just going to go like
Yeah,
blurt everything out of my mouth, but
sure.
I'm going to say the things that are on my mind because this can be helpful for somebody because they need to hear my perspective.
Absolutely. Your point of view. When did that shift for you? When did that
Um,
change for you?
Only within the last few years, I would
Yeah.
say. And it's still, I mean, it's something I still struggle with because again, like I love serving people. I really, really do. I have a heart for people. Even if they don't like me, I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to serve you because you just need more love. And I feel like my husband is the exact same way. But the problem is then we don't set up like healthy boundaries. So we're still learning like, okay, how do we continue to love people, but also set up these healthy boundaries so that way we don't get hurt in this process. So,
Yeah.
um, it's every season of your life is new.
Mhm.
And every time you add a kid, it changes the equation. So that's okay to have to keep revisiting and keep relearning what like what does people pleasing mean in my life right now? Am I still doing it? It might look differently now that I have 3 kids instead of 2 kids. So am I
Yep.
falling back into those old patterns? So I do have to look at that a lot.
That's super important, I think, for everyone listening to keep that top of mind. I have it almost the opposite way where I invest too much in people that might not deserve it, whether
Yeah,
it's an employee or a
I know.
friend. It's like I give my 300% to
Oh,
someone, and then I end up getting, betrayed or burned or something like that. And then, I very much only see it from the perspective of like, but how could they?
right.
I gave them so much of myself, and it
That
took
was
me,
us.
yeah, like I could not understand their perspective, the other
Hmm.
side of it, because I was like, but I really was such a good friend, or I really was such a good boss to this
Yeah.
person.
You're like, I would never
And
react that
I
way.
would never do that to someone. Like I would never
Yeah.
ever do that to someone else. And really understand, like it's taken me a long time, and I feel like almost in the last year I've had to really like understand that my life is my life, and what they choose to do is their life, and
Yeah.
that's going to affect them, their personality, their morals, their virtues. And I just need to be responsible on this end, because
Right.
sometimes I would be like, how could this have occurred? And
But
I
you were
gave,
still
yeah,
planting those seeds of kindness and goodness. So
yeah,
like, and that's what I have to say. Like, obviously don't waste your time. Like clearly, and that's where boundaries are super important. Like I do love, and we were just talking about this morning. I do love doing things for people who I maybe don't get along with or who don't like me. And not because I want them to like me, but because I want to show them like what a seed of kindness looks like.
totally.
And it's not about, let me get this person to like me or love me. It's just about, let me show you how to be like a good human. And
Yeah,
if they take that, great. They might not remember that, or they might not really let that sink in until 5 years from now. And that's happened.
totally.
I've seen like the fruits of the seeds that we've planted years later where someone's like, I was not great to you back then and I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but what you did for me has stuck with me. And that, like having that confirmation years later is kind of like that, oh, that's why I do what I do. That's
Yeah.
why
And,
we
and
keep
yeah,
being good people.
I think it's so, I think that personal integrity and being yourself at the end of the day and spreading that kindness is
Yeah.
just so key. And I love that you and your husband live that way, because at the end of the day, we need to be responsible for the impact that we create on
Yeah.
this planet, and that
100%.
starts with your family, with your kids,
Yes.
with your
It starts at
and
home. Like
yeah,
it starts at home and it just
that's
trickles into
amazing.
everything.
And so, what would be some of your tips that you would give to women that are passionate about their career, but also passionate about being a mother, like myself? You gave me some tips earlier, but there is going to be a little bit of a balance. And I
Yeah.
had the only part of my entire pregnancy that has been, I would say, like not perfectly ideal in my own mind is that I don't think I'm going to get a maternity leave. I'm a
Right.
CEO of a business,
Yeah.
and no, I'm not going to have to like pop out the baby and be at work at
Right.
9 a.m. the next day. But I have responsibilities and I am a responsible person. I'm not one of those people that can just be like, I'm going to check out and whatever will happen will happen. And I just am like totally fine. It'll just, everything will just whatever. I'm not like that. I am definitely more of an A-type personality. I like to be involved there. I definitely will have a lot of the stuff covered, but the high level stuff that I don't have a replacement for, there's no one
Yeah.
to step in for me
Yeah.
to handle those responsibilities. And I have customers, I have employees, I have retailers, I have responsibilities, and I really thought I would have it set up enough to take a maternity leave.
Right.
I don't think that I will, and that really made me emotional because I was like,
Oh,
this isn't fair. I want to be like, because I have to make sure that my employees get a
right.
maternity leave. So I
Yeah.
have to set it up for them, but no one's setting
Right.
it up for me. I'm the owner, I'm the CEO, you know?
But
So that made me
okay,
emotional.
one thing that I nothing is ever going to be perfect, no matter how hard you try, whether you're having a baby or you're not having a baby. You can run things like as smoothly as you can, but things happen because that's life, right?
Hmm.
Um, so I think the best advice I would say, at least like what I've gone through, is knowing, okay, it's not going to be perfect, but I'm going to give it what I can
Hmm.
and what I'm capable of doing. Obviously, you have a lot of people relying on you, and that is an added pressure. And girl, like you are superwoman for doing it, but it's this weird thing that happens in your body okay, when you first have a baby, it's as if like you've gotten into a car accident and your body has experienced like crazy trauma, okay? If you got into a car accident, nobody would send you home immediately and be like, okay, now go take care of your family while
Mm-mm.
you heal. No, but there's something
Mm-mm.
about like when we have a baby, our body goes through crazy trauma, and then we're supposed to immediately go into like full force, like I'm a mom, I have to take care of my family, I have to take care of everything and still be superwoman. But
Yeah.
somehow our bodies do it. Like we become superhuman. Like you operate on no sleep really well. Like if I had to operate on no sleep prior to having kids, it was terrible. It was absolutely
Hmm.
terrible. I required 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. Like it was a requirement. And look, that's ideal for your body, but you're going to go through seasons, particularly with children, where
Right.
you're not going to be able to have that. And so I think you have not yet experienced, I mean, you're experiencing it now because you're 8 months pregnant, but it's like something else happens in your body
Mm.
where you go to like the next level of superhero.
Yeah.
and
Wow.
and you get an energy that you didn't know you had. Yes, you're exhausted, but you still can function. um
Mm.
I don't know if this is encouraging at all. I'm sorry, I'm just
It
like
is.
what is
I kind of like, that's what I plan. I plan to juggle it. And I kind of switched my own perspective from a victim mindset of like, I'm not going to get a maternity leave to, you
yes,
know what, like, I'm going to be the most badass Wonder Woman.
yes,
I'm going to prove to everyone that I can do it all. And I'm going to set an example
yep.
for other moms and other women that, there's
I love that
tons
you're
of
saying
moms
this.
that have to work. They have
Yes,
to
they
work.
don't have there's like
They don't
no other option.
No, they have to make their bills happen. And so I think that there's so many moms that get to be stay-at-home moms and it's so beautiful and that their partner provides for them, but more people actually don't get that. And
Right.
I want to be a like a light for those people, you
You
know?
hit the nail on the head, and you will 100% be a light for those people, just like what you're saying and your attitude towards it all. But you hit the nail on the head when you said that I don't want the victim mentality, because the
Yeah.
problem is the victim mentality is what holds you back from
Hmm.
becoming whatever you want to be. Like
Yeah.
you can either sit here and feel sorry for yourself, or you can go, I'm not going to be a victim. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to be the best version of myself. And yours is literally running a company. And I feel like a lot of people, look, it takes a lot of hard work, but people put that on the category of, oh, it's unattainable. When I'm like,
Right.
no, you can do anything. Like if you want to do it, you can do it. You just have to. The first step is like stepping back and being and stopping the, oh, I can't do it because X, Y,
Totally.
and Z. No, it's I have to do it because of X, Y, and Z.
Absolutely. And I think that the child will give me even more motivation because then
Yes,
I'll have even like this tiny human to work toward, to give a good example to.
100%.
So I'm
And you will
hoping
be
that,
tired.
yeah,
Just know
yeah,
you will be tired, and that's
yeah,
okay. Like, you're
yeah,
gonna be fine. You're
yeah.
gonna be fine. But and don't be afraid to ask for help, whether it's from friends or family, or your husband. I know sometimes
Mm,
like it can be really hard for husbands. I know it was hard for Carlos because he's like, I just feel useless. Like what is my role in this?
right.
So just really being honest and vocal because I was not in my first pregnancy. I was not
Yeah.
because I wanted to make it really easy for him. And I'm just like, I ended up getting frustrated because I wasn't actually vocalizing what I needed from him during
Mm.
that time. So really don't be afraid to vocalize what you need from your spouse.
Okay, I will. My husband is amazing. I love my husband. So I feel really blessed. He's already like a dad, you know. He's like
Awesome.
he's just
Awesome.
he's just like been waiting for this for so long.
Yes.
And he's just like, I'll do anything. He's just like
What
he's
do you want me to do?
very,
I'll change
yeah,
all
he's
the
like,
poopy diapers.
yeah, he's all game. But you know, there was actually a comment that I just saw here from one of your followers. It says, Alexa, can you explain how you and Carlos plan on working and having your three kids on the big time rush tour? So you're going to be
Oh,
on that tour
yes.
bus. So like,
Yeah.
how do you plan to do that?
Okay, so I mean, luckily we have our own tour bus, so that's going to make a huge difference. So
Mm,
we'll be able to have the kids on there. We'll bring little things from home to just make it feel homey. But the other guys in the band, they're literally like the uncles to the kids. So
mm.
they're so excited. If you were to ask Ocean, what are you doing this summer? She's like, I'm going to go live on a tour bus.
Oh my
But it's not
gosh.
much different from, we also live on a boat part time.
Yeah.
So for them, like this is exciting. It's just kind of another adventure. But like for us, what it looks like is we include them in everything we do. It's not just like, oh, we have this life that we like drag our kids along to. No, we really include them. We want to bring them
Wow.
into our world, and we're realizing it's making better kids out of them. Whereas if we just kind of shove them off in a corner and let somebody else raise them because we have to work, not everybody has, again, the luxury that we have where we can bring them with us to our work. Like we want them to experience that. I think of why work offers like kids day where you like bring
Yeah.
your kids into work day and they get to see what
Mm-hmm.
mommy and daddy do or whatever it is.
Right.
It's because they learn by watching you and seeing how you respond to people, how you interact with people at your job. And I think what you're going to give your daughter is the best experience. So for us, we want our kids to experience what we love to do, what our passions are, and
Yeah.
they get to have that on hand. I don't know if that answered the question. I hope it did,
Yeah,
but
I think it
we're going
did.
to be on
I
the
think
tour bus.
I think it's so amazing. You're really inspiring me because I'm planning to fly back and forth from Portland to Florida
Yep.
because I've been here in my third trimester in Portland, but I need to go also see my team in
Yep.
Florida, and I miss seeing my team. It's not just because I
Yeah.
have to, it's because I
No, you
want to be
want
in the
to.
office.
Yeah, you have two
And
loves, and that's okay. Listen,
mm-hmm,
when people feel like your bucket is overflowing, it's not overflowing. Like when you have babies, particularly when you have like a second child, you
yeah,
feel like, oh my gosh, you feel guilty for the first child. Like, how am I going to love this second child enough that, like, I love my first child and now I feel badly. But no, you just get more buckets. Like,
yeah, wow.
it's not like, oh, your bucket's just like too full. No, another one appears and like you get to fill that bucket up with love. And it's just,
Yeah, it's not like you lose your identity and you lose
no.
everything that you love about work or career or
Mm-mm,
your passions when
mm-mm.
you have children, and like that all just disappears, you
No,
know?
but there were seasons where I really took a step back and I realized, oh, I really need to focus on the family right now.
Yeah.
And when you feel that, you'll know, like you'll feel it
Okay.
on your heart and you'll just be like, okay, my focus needs to shift a little bit. And whether that takes a week, a month, 3 months, like whatever that looks like in your life, don't be afraid to be honest about it because it's when you're not that the resentment piles up because then you either
Totally.
start resenting your job because your heart is on your kids right now, but then like you're needed here. Don't be afraid to vocalize it and find a solution so that you
Yeah.
can have those intentional times either with your coworkers or like it could
Mm-hmm.
be your kids. It could be your kids pulling you away from the job where you're like, I really need my focus here right now. Like for my heart, I need this. So
Right.
take that time to either whether it's a week or a month or however long to really focus in on work and then come back
Yep.
to home life. Like I think it's finding that healthy balance, but we feel
Yep.
like it's all or nothing. Like I'm either
Yep.
all in on family or nothing at all, or I'm all in on my
Hmm.
job or nothing at all. And it's not like that. Life doesn't work like that. You have to find that beautiful balance that works for everyone.
That's amazing. And there's so many people in the comments that are like loving this advice. They're just
Oh,
like, I really
yay.
needed to hear this. And there's like,
Yay.
these are a lot of moms that are commenting about this. There was a great question here from Jenny Shyness 87 that says, Alexa, do you ever get overwhelmed? If so, how do you deal with it?
Heck yes, I get
Because
overwhelmed.
everybody's been commenting, like, how do you stay so calm,
I
Alexa? I
know.
think everybody thinks that you are this, that you have a perfect life and that you are so zen and that you're so calm and that you're so amazing all the time. But I know from other,
No,
you have
I get
achieved
overwhelmed.
things that other people strive to achieve, but it doesn't change the daily struggles. It doesn't change
No.
the failures. And I know that because people are like, you own a business. I'm like, I own a business,
Yes,
like,
yes,
you
that's
know?
literally it. Like you are pooped at the end of the day.
Hmm.
For me, prayer is like super important, and I always like tell people like prayer, meditation, like that just helps you chill out. So if my kids are going crazy, and this happens often, especially when you have three kids, sometimes they'll all
Yep.
be screaming at the exact same time. You can only tend to one at a time. Like you're
Right.
one person, right? My big thing is just being able to take a moment, close my eyes, and I just breathe and I say a little prayer. And I just, even in all the chaos, I've learned how to just kind of zone out for a second and regroup and then come back to it. And I'm a much better mom when I do that. Whereas if I don't take that second to just recharge, I'm telling you, it's literally like 15 to 30 seconds of recharge
Wow.
time, but it
Hmm.
makes all the difference because or else you're at that boiling point where everything is building up and you're not even taking that moment to just breathe. They're going to be
Hmm.
fine. If they're screaming for a minute, they're going to be fine. If they're screaming for 10 minutes, they're going to be fine. Like,
Yep.
take the second that you need to recharge and reload and then go back into your day. And that's
Awesome.
the best advice. Honestly, I set this timer off on my phone, and that would like go off every hour or whatever. And it was just a reminder. For me personally, it was a reminder to pray. Like for you, it might be, to just breathe. It might be to meditate. It might be whatever it is. But it was such a
Right.
good reminder of like, hey, take time for yourself. Take that
Yep.
minute to regroup. Take that minute to
Yep.
recharge. And then I now don't need that timer anymore
Wow.
because I created a habit, and now my habit recharges me daily. And I think that's how I've been able to just kind of always stay collected. I
Yeah.
get overwhelmed, but I don't go crazy. I
Yeah.
get overwhelmed, but I'm able to come back from that
Yeah. And you practice that healthy
because
habit.
I
I'm all
practice it.
about, people are like, how do you, eat healthy, or how do you do this? I'm like, it's a practice.
You have to
I
practice.
didn't like just like appeared and I am now good at this, or,
Right.
how do
Exactly.
you, I love exercising. Like, how do you exercise every day? I'm like, well, I practice it, it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, somebody
same
asked
with,
me, they're like, how do you exercise with three kids? I was like, well, it looks different than it used to. Like we do cartwheels in the backyard together now. We do
yeah,
squat jumps together. But like you find ways to still incorporate it so you don't lose it. Do you know what I
totally,
mean? So
totally.
practice is
I love that. And then I have one last question,
okay.
which is a totally selfish question. I want to know this. So it's just for me, really. And
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else here is interested, but I want to know this. So hypothetically, in my mind, I would love to have three kids. That's
Yeah.
the number that, my husband is one of three, and I would love to have three. I think three is the perfect dynamic.
Yep.
It creates a group rather than a two, which is like a couple,
Yep. Yep.
but now I'm pregnant with my first one, and everything is fine, but I'm like, oh my gosh, then I'm going to have to get my body back. And then and then I'm going to
Yeah.
breastfeed for another year. So, okay, wait a second. So I'm 9 months
You start
pregnant, and
counting the
then,
years.
yeah. And I'm like, wait, and then I have to like breastfeed, and then like, what about my body? And fitness
Yeah.
is important to me, and my own health is important to me. But then I'm going to have to get pregnant again because I'm 31. So if I want to have three kids, it's got to
You're
be
like,
like,
I know.
it's got
I
to be
know.
like happening. And I'm like, wait, but like, I I don't know how you got your body back and how you, because I know you had your kids in 2016, 2019, and 2021. So
Right.
they're pretty back to back.
There,
And I
yeah. Rio was sooner than I would have liked. And
okay.
I will say she was my most difficult pregnancy
Mm,
because I was not working out the way that I used to. And that's
mm,
why I think it's so important whenever people like want advice. If you have the opportunity to be working out prior to getting pregnant, do
yeah.
it because you're already prepping your body for pregnancy. And then once you
Hmm.
get pregnant, continue with your workout routines and your body will be better for it. I was not in a workout regimen before I got pregnant with Rio, and then I got pregnant with Rio, and it was really hard on my body whenever I would try to work out because
Hmm.
it was just tough on my body.
Right.
And then when it came time to like giving birth, like all sorts of stuff, like it was crazy. I have a wild birth story with her, but it was just
Oh
really,
wow.
really tough. And it goes back to it. You want to try to be as healthy as possible going into it.
Yeah.
On a selfish point, yeah, it sucks because you're like, I want my body back, you know? So for me right now, I'm like, I'm slowly getting my body back. It's
Hmm.
still a little bit Rio's, but in time it will be completely mine. Um,
Yeah.
and then we're like, we do want more kids. So we're like, how long do we wait? Because I want to enjoy my body. I want to still be me for a little bit.
Oh my God,
Um,
you're gonna have more kids, girl. That's amazing.
I
You're
do.
so like, I think it's courageous. Like it's really not about the quantity of children, but like you have to consciously be like, I'm going to put myself through this again.
Yes,
Like it's a
yes.
decision. You have to be
But
like, and I was like, wow,
this time around
wow.
was the first time though that I'm like, oh, do I want more kids?
Yeah.
But then when you experience the life that they give you, like kids are really life giving. Sure, they're
Mhm.
draining and exhausting and you have to take care of them. But like really, when you actually pay attention to your beautiful children, they are so life giving. They are
Yeah.
fun and they just get better with age because every season, and Ocean is my best example just because he's my oldest kid, right? But every season that he goes through, like I'm discovering more about him and he's able to like communicate better and he's able to kind of tell me the things that he likes and the things that he doesn't like and just the funny things that they do and they say and their brutal honesty, but you can't help but just love their innocence. And I think that that's something
Yeah.
that the world really needs right now. Like kids offer
Yeah.
such a pure innocence that when you have the opportunity to just like sit down with a kid and just listen to the stories that they have to tell you, it's really awesome. It's beautiful.
Wow. Okay. Well, you've inspired me. I'm like, because I know I'm gonna have to do this thing. If
Okay,
I
wait.
want three.
I
Yeah.
just realized. Hold on.
Mm,
Bouncing back.
yes.
Don't try to bounce back immediately.
Okay.
No matter what.
But what
Like
do you
even if
do
you
when
went
you,
on
but
like
I like, it's not even like, it's not because the world expects me to. It's because
right,
I,
it's because
I
you
like
want
to
it.
be fit.
I know
I want it for me.
but I felt the same way. But this is coming from somebody who dealt with like a lot of eating issues growing up. Like
Mm,
I had an eating disorder and I dealt with all of that junk. So having come out of that, I did have this. I had multiple fears going into pregnancy. One was like, am I going to fall back into this? And I
mm,
didn't at all. I was like, it was so fantastic, and I was so thankful to have like really resolved all those issues. But coming out of it, your body takes at least a year to heal, a full year. And it doesn't matter if like, don't look at it as like skinny or fat or out of shape or whatever. Regardless of any of that, it takes a year for your body to heal from what it just went through. Okay.
okay.
Outside of that, make sure that you're eating in a way that is nourishing you. And if you struggle with nourishing yourself, I would say eat in a way that's very nourishing to your baby. Because if you're
Yeah.
breastfeeding, you want to nourish your baby with the best foods and really do your research on what those great foods are and what those
Proteins, good
exercises are
fats,
for you. Yes,
veggies,
yeah, get the
fruits.
avocado in there. If you're not allergic to avocado, get a lot of avocado.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so really focusing in on the health side of things, not the image side. And I really had that's hard. I still, even now, Carlos deals with me being like, oh, my tummy's still so wrinkly. Like, I want it to be back to normal. And it doesn't go back to normal right away. I thought the second I gave birth that my stomach would go back to being flat. no, you look pregnant still for like
Oh,
6 weeks. And I was shocked because nobody warned me. Nobody told me,
yep,
hey, you're gonna still look pregnant for this long because it takes a long time for your body to just shrink back down. You're still holding on to fluids. Your body is still doing weird stuff because you're still breastfeeding. There's just so much
yeah,
that goes into it, and we don't have enough grace for ourselves. So we start like
yeah.
getting mad that we don't look in shape, or like what's her name looked after she got pregnant. Like
Mm-hmm.
you got to just abandon all of those thoughts and know
Yeah.
I have another year. So it's like being pregnant for another year. Just
It's
pretend like you're
crazy.
pregnant for another year.
It's crazy. It's
It is.
so wild. And then you do that 3-4 times. You're like,
Yeah.
wow, that's like a decade of
Yeah.
my life.
I know.
Wow.
I know. My grandma, she's passed on, but she had 12 kids. Naturally, no
Wow.
twins, nothing. And I think she
Oh,
legit, when she passed away, has like 96 grandkids and great grandkids and great great grandkids. Like her
wow.
lineage is wild. But she was a champion.
What a legend.
She's a legend. Like my abuelita is a major legend.
Wow. Well, you've given me so many good tips for myself and for everybody listening. And just so that you know, a lot of your followers are asking you about how you stay calm and not overwhelmed, about you and Carlos. So if you're looking for like content to make for
Yes,
your
thank
fans, that's
you.
what people are asking.
Okay.
Everyone wants to know about how do you stay calm and how do you not get overwhelmed and how do you and Carlos maintain,
A
your
healthy relationship and
you're stable.
communication.
That's what
Yeah,
a lot of your followers want to know
that's
about
really
being
good.
overwhelmed. So
Oh, maybe we should
just
do.
a
I'll
FYI.
convince him that we should do a little live, answer some questions too.
Yeah, and give your tips. I think that you guys are not only successful in your own careers, which is inspirational to someone like me who is I'm very career focused because I had to be. I grew up extremely poor and I have been working since I was 9 years old. That's when I started earning
No
my own
way.
money. Yeah. I
See,
was
I
actually,
don't know your backstory, so this is
I'll give
so
you, I'll give you a
interesting.
little bit of, this is
But
Gigi, by the way.
please, hi
This is
Gigi.
Gigi.
She's like, no,
um,
mom.
I'll give you like a short backstory. Usually
Please.
I'll tell it, but I really wanted this to be about your advice because you're so amazing. But I, was born in Israel and my family moved to Florida when I was 7, but raised by a single mom. So it's basically just been me and her forever, and had to start working at 9. And that's when this whole victim mentality just totally, I didn't have that because I was
Yeah.
like, I need to go work. That is a necessity. I need to go
Wow.
do that. And so I started babysitting at a very young age. And from the age of 9 throughout high school, that's how I made money. Is I was a nanny, I was a babysitter, loved kids. And I would use that money to help pay for literally food and
No
clothes and
way.
things for me and my mom. And although it was extremely hard, and I felt very disconnected from people in my school because they would all go home after school
Yeah.
and I would go to work.
Right.
And so at a very young age, or, during the summertime, they would all be at the pool or on vacation. And I would be being like, this is my time to make the most money as possible. During the summers is when
Wow.
nannies can make tons of money because the parents need, they need childcare. So I would work and I would make tons of money and I would save up for my first car when I was 16. And uh,
This is
so
amazing.
thank you. It was
I'm
quite,
serious.
it was like a movie, it was a total movie. Um, and it was definitely like that immigrant story.
It's
And
beautiful.
then I actually joined the military when I was 19. And I don't know if you know that about me, but I
I
was,
don't.
yeah,
In Israel?
yeah,
Oh, here in Israel. No way. By the
yeah,
way, we love Israel. I mean, we're very faith based. So for us,
yeah.
I even told Carlos, I was like, I want to have our babies there, and he's like, okay, listen, lady, let's at least have our babies in Hawaii, and we'll go to Israel. Okay.
You will literally, just by going to Jerusalem, no matter your faith, that is the most spiritual,
Yep.
holy, religious
That is
place.
what
Like,
I've heard.
you just literally enter into the city and you get goosebumps. That there's
Oh,
something in the air, there's something in the vibe. It is like
I can't
holy
wait.
ground. like
I
for real.
cannot
Like there's
wait.
so many Christians and so many people from all faiths go there. I love spirituality in general.
Yeah.
So anyone that goes there feels that.
Yeah.
And so
So much history. Okay, so
yeah,
military. You joined the
yeah,
military.
joined the military because I didn't want to go. I didn't even think about going to college because college takes money and I didn't have any. So I was like, well,
Right.
that's not an option for me. So I was like, I'm going to go join the military. I'm going to see what comes of it. And I became a fitness instructor for combat soldiers in the artillery unit, which is what kind of like, I know it's crazy, but it
This is
led me down
awesome.
this path toward fitness and nutrition and wellness. And that's where that passion came from. But it's also where I started to have digestive and gut health issues because when you live on a base of 3,000 people, the food is not organic, it's
Yep.
not fresh,
No.
it's like prison food. It's like
Right.
what I like.
Yeah.
It's just like food made for the masses.
Right.
And I looked like I was 5 months pregnant when I wasn't. Like I was so bloated, I was so constipated.
Oh,
I drank more water, I ate more fiber, I changed my diet, I was exercising, and nothing was working. And that's when I finished my service, came back to Florida, that's when I created our detox program, our very first product,
oh
because I
my
could
gosh.
not figure out what is going on with my gut health? What is going on with
Mm,
my digestion? Why am I not pooping? Why is no one talking about pooping? Like,
right.
am I the only one that's going through
Am I the
this?
only one
Like,
that cares about poop?
yeah, I was like, so I literally read so many books about poop
Oh
um, and I became very knowledgeable about poop. And that's when I started learning about herbs, about teas, about detoxing. And that's where the brand started from and obviously expanded into, holistic herbs in
yep.
our green superfood powder and our protein powders and all these other wellness products and skincare products because I realized that a lot of people don't know the benefits of these herbs and the
No
people that
clue.
do are way too crunchy.
They
They're
don't
all like
feel accessible or
no,
just like
they're
you're
all
on
like the
another level,
packaging
bro.
is brown. It's not
Yes.
cute,
Why? Oh my gosh.
like
You know what? That's literally, I had this thought the day before yesterday because I was bringing my kids and they've really only spent time in like, more kind of granola type stores. And I
mm-hmm.
remember when I was little, I couldn't stand those stores because everything was brown. I wanted to go into
No.
like the regular supermarkets because everything was colorful. And I'm like, why is
Yeah,
everything? But I think it's like all the packages are brown so people know this is healthy food or
I
this
know.
is.
And that's why I made that all our teeny packages would be colorful
I
because I'm
love
like,
that.
I could, it speaks to people like my mom. It speaks to people that are already there. But my
Right.
purpose is not to help the crunchy people become more crunchy.
Right.
My
Yes.
purpose is to help regular Americans that grew up eating McDonald's and not knowing anything about nutrition that are suddenly in their 30s that are like, my whole body, nothing's working. I'm bloated, I'm constipated, I don't know what's happening, I have no energy, and they don't know anything about nutrition. Those are the people that I'm trying to help. It's
Yeah.
the girl that shops at Target. It's the girl that shops
Yep.
at Walmart. This is not the girl that is in LA and is a vegan nutritionist and already knows
Exactly.
everything and is,
Exactly.
that's not who I'm trying to help. I'm trying
I
to help.
already liked you
Yeah.
guys before, but like hearing your story, you're incredible. You are
Oh, thank
so
you.
incredible. I have such a heart for you because I didn't know this stuff about you and I can't wait to share this with more people. I hope this is
Oh.
saved. I don't know if I could like steal this
Yeah, I'm
video
going
and
to say
also,
this.
well, I also
Yes.
want to put it on mine as well so people can hear this conversation, but
Yep.
you're amazing. Like
Oh.
you really, really are. And I can't wait. Carlos can't hear any of this conversation, but I cannot wait to share this with him. Like I I want to be your best friend because just
Oh
hearing
my
this story,
gosh, I want to be your best friend.
this is so beautiful. And I didn't know this stuff about you. And I already loved your company. We love your company and we crack up because anytime I have something that I like, Carlos always uses it. So whether it was the teas or the green powder or my now like face care that I go into, he literally comes over and steals everything. But yeah, he loves the under eye one, the under eye one.
Oh, love it.
But it's it's so much more meaningful. Like stories are so important and hearing where things came from and why you're doing it is so is so important. And I never knew that. I just loved your products. I didn't know
Oh,
this backstory behind it, but it makes it so much more powerful to me.
that's
It's
amazing.
beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so
I
much.
can't
I
wait for your
really
daughter to
appreciate
see
that.
her mama work, because that's unreal what you did.
Yeah, and I learned it from my mom, and I had to
Yeah.
look at my mom, who was extremely strong through
Yeah.
so much adversity. And I was really, and I was around my mom so much, I love that your kids go to work with you, because I
Yeah.
picked up on so much. I was able to look at her and say, these are the characteristics of her personality that I want to take on.
Yep.
And these are the things that I don't want to be poor anymore. Okay, so
Right.
what am I
Yeah.
going to do?
How do I
Like,
change that? Yeah.
yeah, I want to change that. I want to create a different life for myself. And I'm super proud that I was actually able to go from, having a very not good situation and turning that around to the point where I was able to give back to my mom
Hmm.
financially, and I married the love of my life. That was a big thing. Like, I wanted to marry someone that I was in love with, and
Yes.
not, that my parents did not have that marriage.
Yeah.
And I
I
wanted
was
to,
raised by a single mom.
wow.
So she had three
Yeah.
kids,
So,
and yeah, I started working when I was 4. But I mean, at
yeah.
least I was working because I had like a passion to work. I didn't think of the money side of things, but we were broke. We didn't have
Yeah.
money, and my
Yeah.
mom was single, and we never once felt lack, though. I will say,
Mm-hmm.
because my mom was such a strong mom raising 3 kids on her own, and we didn't know we were poor because of
Yeah.
how we
So
lived our
much.
lives.
Yeah.
But
I
she
think
was
I
really
think we
such a
have to,
strong
yeah,
mom.
I think we have to
Sorry.
end this
Yep.
live, because I think that if it goes past an hour, I won't be able to save it. And I do want to
Great.
save this conversation.
Done. You are amazing. I'm so glad I got to speak with you.
You too. Thank you for your time, Alexa.
Of
We so
course.
appreciate it.
No, thank you.
We'll
And I
do this again
hope everybody
soon.
learned something.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.